Hello, everybody. All right. So now with that out of the way, all right. So welcome to the Mikestand, everybody. So RJ, as I was telling you, we're gonna of course be reading through some stuff from DC. I'll go more over that in a moment. How's your week? I saw you had quite a busy week this week, didn't you?
Oh, a little bit. We've done some things, cleaned out the cabinets, dusted the television off. Oh yeah, we published like 6 books this week.
Yeah. The Elk at Antioch saying, "Hail Zenu Zena, long may they reign over us forever." All right. So So basically, just to get everybody caught up to speed. So this week, of course, we're starting our coverage of February 1940 books that went on sale. Today, we're of course going to be starting off with DC, including going over Action Comics Volume One, Issue 23, which of course will feature the first chronological appearance of Alexi Luthor. We'll get into that a little bit. Also, we'll be finishing up the story that was started in More Fun Comics 52, the Spectre story, the second half of his origin story. We'll be introducing everybody to the Hour Man, TikTok Tyler, in making his debut in Adventure Comics number 48. We see the return to the pages of Detective Comics of the Crimson Avenger in issue number 37 after about an 8 issue hiatus, and then and with maybe a little bit of time left, we might even hit up a couple stories from All American Comics, the Hop Harrigan and Squibbly stories to kind of round things out and probably put a little bit more of a slice of life, lighter spin on things. Let's see now. Um, Mo, okay, Ma, Homac CD. I am here. How are you? All right. Welcome to the stream. So tonight is, as some, for those of you who are new, this is our Fridays are our historical comic retrospect where we go back and look through comics of yesterday. Happy Ram, and of course, the Al says Happy Ramadan. All right. Um, but of course, before we get started, of course, before we even get into the reading aspect of it, we're going to do a couple of intros real quick, as I said. But before we do all that, RJ, would you like to do an intro? Maybe tell everybody about who you are, share any links. You know the shtick, right?
Yeah, I do know the stick. So I'm putting something in the chat right now. This is the latest anthology from Critical Blast Publishing. This is The Devil You Know Best. This is the third volume of a. Well, this is everything. Uh, yeah, well, this isn't even everything. This is just a lot of stuff that we published. So we're looking at we did The Devil You Know, we did The Devil You Know Better, and I'm going to stick The Devil You Know Best under here as soon as my copies come in. We got things like Gods and Services, the Grimm Brothers, or the Brothers Grimm, the Monsters Next Door. If you want to go to criticalblast.com and click on the Books and Publishing tab, you will see not only what we are reading for right now, which is The Fables Next Door, but also you'll see the catalog of everything else that we put out there. How busy are we? Just this Tuesday on New Book Day, we managed to publish not only The Devil You Know Best, but the Black Diamond Effect Joe King versus Job ads, the Critical Blast Publishing Colors Not Included adult coloring book, The Buffalo Mob, The Return of Organized Crime to the Queen City, the Illustrated Extended Edition, and Grayscale Book 1, Welcome to Glitter City. This is the combination of Grayscale issues 1 and 2 that were crowdfunded. Those are available in hardcover, softcover, and in a little bitty pocketbook. So not only are we publishing multiple titles, we're publishing multiple formats. So we aim for your pocketbook.
All right, and there's the link if you guys want to go check that out. Um, and also, and I'm guessing this is another handle that Wayne uses. I guess Mr. Big
That's
60
Mr. Big.
he says he loves the hat.
I like it too. I saw it in Walmart and I just like had to have it.
All right. So, anyways, all right. So tonight, as I said, we're gonna get started on gonna get into our our coverage of February 1940. So, and before we get into the actual readings, we're gonna do a little preview work here. Introduce everybody to a couple of characters. The first character we're going to talk a little bit about here, and I'm not going to read over the entire bio. Obviously, we'll see the bios as we read the stories. Okay, we'll get all that aspect in there, but here we'll like kind of just give a quick the quickie stuff, the stuff that we all look forward to, the powers, abilities, notes, that stuff, the real quickie stuff. We'll do that with Lexi Luthor and our men, and then we'll get into the readings. Sound good to you, RJ?
Sounds good to me. I've got my DC Who's Who omnibus at the ready if I have to grab it.
All right. One for my phone, one for my desktop. All right. And
Different
also,
IDs.
just as a reminder to the chat, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, with all that being said, that is a mouthful, isn't it? Isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's funny. They have a quote here from Alexi Luthor, and I just noticed they use the word cret. I guess Alexi was calling Superman a superpowered cretin because I just did a story the other day about Tom Brevoort, right? Calling people who criticize people's changes to the X-Men cretins. So, anyway, so let's get into first off look at the. Now we all know, of course, Luthor. No matter what Earth, in this case, is the Earth 2 version, Alexi Luthor, not to be confused with Alexander Lex Luthor of the main Earth or Earth 1, or even Alexander Luthor the Third of Earth 3, the heroic Luthor. This is Alexi Luthor. As I understand it, he's more of your typical megalomaniacal scientist. Basically, thinks he knows better than everybody else, so he goes out and tries to conquer the world with his genius intellect. But, anyways, let's look at. They have powers, abilities. So let's go through this real quick. Of course, as we just mentioned, abilities-wise, genius level intellect, gadgetry, electrical engineering. Chemistry, once Luthor was able to develop a gas that rendered Superman unconscious. Genetics, once Luthor created a strange dragon, well, presumably. Science, espionage, demolitions, disguise, cheating death. Aviation, meaning he could obviously pilot, and then weaponry. Other characteristics, mental disorder. Alexi Luthor's hatred for Superman surpasses the edge of madness, while Lex Luthor wanted only to destroy his universe's Superman, and occasionally to conquer the Earth. Alexi was eager to obliterate two entire universes. So I thought he was more. I thought it was kind of more the other way around, but one of which was his own native universe, simply to wipe their heroic versions of Superman from existence. The fact that the destruction of Earth 2 and its entire reality would mean no Earth 2 left to conquer was inconsequential as long as Earth 3 remained waiting for him as a twisted quote unquote consolation prize. Paraphernalia, equipment Luthor developed, incredible array. So basically, they depict him as a mad scientist here, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Luther developed an incredible array of fantastic inventions for a wide variety of purposes, harnessing extremely advanced technologies. Among them were a hypnotic device that was effective on Superman, a process for using electricity to enhance his own strength, um, an improved process for using electricity to imbue him with artificial superpowers, which seemed to be kind of a common theme among many different canon of Superman and Lex Luthor. You have in one way or another Luthor at some point in each universe, no matter trying to get powers of his own. A fourth dimensional ray projector, a machine which could project his image and voice over long distances on a surface by which he could watch and listen at any spot um, where it was projected. So basically, a teleprompter or television, I guess. A technology with which he could make himself and his equipment invisible and inaudible, almost like creating a pocket dimension there. Transportation. Luther built every kind of super vehicle from burrowing machines to starships. He built an invisible, inaudible helicopter and an invisible, inaudible spaceship. He built an anti gravity device the size of a city and built a city on it and placed it in the stratosphere. I think I do remember seeing that story at one point when that actually happened. I don't remember the exact story, but Luthor had a base aboard a meteor, um, from which he could bombard specific targets on Earth with heat radiation. Weapons. Luthor built and wielded a variety of electronic ray weapons. In addition to actually synthesizing artificial kryptonite, he had a molecular impulsion beam in miniature atomic. Now, note here, I don't think they introduced kryptonite. Now, RJ, you might know this a little bit more than I would, but I don't think they introduced kryptonite on Earth 2 until after it was introduced on Earth 1, if I understand correctly, right?
No, that would be incorrect because
Oh, that was
kryptonite was introduced in the radio serial, and in the radio serial, we were still in the golden age of Superman.
oh, okay. So I know a lot of the lore and a lot of the different versions of kryptonite came about in the Silver Age, but
Now, the Silver Age, yes, that's when we started getting red and blue and white and all the different various effects. But
yeah,
the green kryptonite itself was invented first on the radio show, and then it made its way into the comics and the television series.
yeah. And I've talked about the Fleischer Superman cartoons too,
Yeah. And the interesting thing
where
is
they
that
talked about, and I think that was also
and kryptonite was an invention of necessity because at the time the actor was out with a cold. He couldn't voice the character, so they continued doing the radio show. But they said Superman was, out of commission. He was suffering, and they called it a kryptonite allergy.
hmm,
And then they had to explain the story when they brought him back.
right. Yeah. Well, as I was getting ready to say, when talking about the cartoon serials of from Fleischer, the Fleischer did. Um, One of the things I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but one of the things they talked about on there was one of the reasons that they started having him fly in there, because while leaping, which was his original power, they're leaping an eighth of a mile, not actual full flight, but
Right.
leaping, um, while it looked good in the pages of a comic book, didn't necessarily look quite as good in animation, in film, basically. Um, Basically, as I think one quote was that he looked like a red and blue kangaroo or something like that. I think that was one of the quotes I read on it. So they, instead of having him just hop around, they just or leap around, they just had him, gave him
Just
flight.
fly.
So anyways, getting back to the preview material here. Let's see. He had weapons for targeting earthquakes to specific locations, rays that exploded inert objects, and handguns that could demolish battleships. He found an ancient empty city under the sea, and enclosed it in glass, inflated the dome with air, and raised it to the surface. Um, in the city, he performed many genetic experiments, then recreated several species of prehistoric animals, including some pterodactyls and a tyrannosaurus. Um, he later created another assortment of giant monster animals on Barracuda Island. And now here are some notes here. Let's see. This version. Okay, so that's always the note they talk about. Basically, the idea was this version of Luthor was basically eliminated with the crisis on him Earth.
Yep.
So um, yeah. So let's see. Luthor's first appearance is generally listed as Action Comics number 23. This is his first chronological appearance and is preceded by his behind the scene chicanery in Action Comics number 22. However, the first published appearance was in Superman number 4. So Superman number 4 and Action Comics 23 essentially came out right around the same time. I think from what I understand, Superman number 4 came out. It was the first published appearance of Luthor, but this was actually his first chronological appearance. Even though they do kind of indicate here that he was kind of behind the scenes in 22, the previous book there. So, and that's why I reread it that last time. Though Alexei Luthor had a similar appearance and demeanor in his 1940 debut, where he was known only as Luthor, subsequent appearances of Luthor throughout the 40s and 50s portrayed him as completely bald when it became necessary in the 1960s to distinguish the Golden Age Luthor from the one appearing in DC Comics. The character was retroactively assigned many of the exploits of his bald successor, as well as the first name Alexei. Um, Golden Age Luthor was a far more bloodthirsty character than his successors, whereas Earth One's Luthor preferred humiliating his adversary to prove his genius. Also, the Earth Two one, as you know, was built more around. He just wanted to get back at Superman for basically, blowing his hair off in that lab
Yeah.
accident as Superboy. Um, Alexei Luthor sought only Superman's death. Golden Age stories that contradicted this New Earth 2 history would later be described to other Earths like Earth 2A, or ascribed to other Earths like Earth 2A. Yeah, that's one of the other things they talk about here too, like the differences between like Perry White and George Taylor. Perry White was actually the one on Earth 2, while George Taylor was the one on Earth 2A. So, um, while Luthor of Earth 1 was born in Smallville and was an enemy of Superman since youth, Luthor of Earth 2 only faced Superman as an adult. His citizenship is unknown, but he was often a prisoner in American prison. Now, mind you, though, based on his name, Alexei Luthor.
Yeah, he's Russian.
Well, I was thinking maybe Russian or Eastern European, because Luthor, if you remember, I think Luthor is a German name, though. Like Martin Luther, the preacher.
Yeah, spelled different though.
Oh yeah, okay. So anyway, so that's it for that. Now let's do a little intro on let's do the intro on Our Man, and then we will
The man of the hour.
right, Rick TikTok Tyler. So let's get into that. And like I said, we're not going to read the bio. We're all
Because there
we're
have been
going.
several of them.
Yeah, but of course we're talking more about um, Rick Tyler, or
Rex Tyler.
Rex Tyler, actually.
Rick is his son.
Yeah. Actually, we don't want the Prime Earth one though.
And then there's also the Hour Man of the year 1,000,000 who comes
Yeah.
back in time. Why is there Earth 21? that seems like a weird disambiguation. I've never heard of Earth 21.
Man, this some. Oh wait. Multiverse New 52.
Well, I can be your Wikipedia on Rex Tyler here.
Oh, that's okay. I can find it. It's just that the way that way they set it up here was so rather than okay. So what I'm going to do now here, let's do this.
Oh, they don't have to say Earth 2 because there wasn't one on Earth 1.
Adventures or Adventure Comics. One 48. If they're not going to give me the information I'm looking for, then I can find it this way. Let's see if this will help. Right. Okay. So I guess they did put it on as New Earth. All right. So there's a chemist who discovered the miraculous chemical miracle. Rex Tyler became the superhero Hour Man, able to use extraordinary abilities for an hour at a time. He became a valued member of the Justice Society and All Star Squadron. So as I said, we're not going to get into the bio. We're just gonna go straight to the powers ability. So powers, unique physiology. Sometimes Rex could reinforce residues of the miracle pill contained in his body and access its effects. Once by using a black light. Other times by reciting the mantra "Man of the Hour." Quite, I think that came later. Obviously, not that wasn't at the point we're going to. Enhanced immune system. The effects evidently persist even after Miracle went off. Abilities: aviation, chemistry, biology. Weaknesses: 60-minute time limit. After a 60-minute time period, the AQP burns itself out, and the waste toxins generated need to be eliminated in the bloodstream over about a 24-hour period. Other formerly drug addiction, I guess. So equipment, Miraclo. Our man derives all his all his superhuman abilities from the miracle vitamin Miraclo. The active ingredient is a special form of phosphorus, which bonds temporary with the ATP in muscle cells to create adenosine quad phosphate, AQP as opposed to ATP, triphosphate, which energizes the cells, which give them, of course, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, superhuman stamina, superhuman agility, and aquatic adaptation. This energy released, the energy release gives the subject the ability to breathe underwater. Weapons, tear gas ring. So, during his early adventures, our man used a ring capable of emitting a tear gas to overcome his foes. So notes, and again, just the same note on this particular wiki that they always do, in which basically this version of the character was basically retconned out of existence during Crisis on Infinite Earths. Trivia: Rex was 6 years old in 1919. combined with his birth date from the 1976. This was make his birth date November 5th, 1913. Um, Rex has gone by a few nicknames during his golden age career, such as TikTok and the Man of the Hour. Recently, it was discovered that Venom, a super steroid compound, was derivative of Miraclo and the street drug A39, which was a form of venom, gave the second Doctor Midnight, Peter Cross, I believe, um, his heightened strength and night vision. Rex and Rick both wore the hourglass around their neck, given to them by the Hourman android. It was filled with energized tachyons, time in its most basic form. So there we go. So now we've got the intros out of the way. So RJ, are you finally ready to do some reading?
I'm ready to get into this comic.
All right. Well, into all these comics, or into as many as we can get into in 2 to 3 hours. So we're coming up on a half hour already. So, anyways, let's get to it. Yeah, okay. (1938). Now look at issue 23. And of course, you want to do the narration?
Of course.
So there we go. Number 23, Action Comics. Look in the upper left-hand corner there, huh?
They're starting to use the Superman symbol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point, I think Superman had become pretty much become the
flagship character of the company by that point.
Yeah. All right. Well, he was basically the feature, the feature in this and the cover art there. He had the red S and the yellow symbol as opposed to kind of the other way around. There's some ads right there, and there you go. Can you see that all right, RJ?
Yeah, I can. I'm going to enlarge it anyway. It's a bit of a smudged scan. There we go. Yes, okay. Ah. Clark Kent and Lois Lane, war correspondents for the Daily Planet, are covering the conflict between Galonia and Toran. As they walk through the streets of Bulgaria toward an important interview, a shell unexpectedly explodes near them. Seizing Lois' unconscious figure, Clark leaps to the safety of a doorway. Swiftly, Clark transforms himself into mighty Superman and takes a terrific leap that carries him hundreds of yards into the air. And at the Toran border,
What did you see at the Toran border? Because
in the red little, I'm pointing to it like you can see it. It's in between the panels.
oh, okay. Splendid. Our shells are wreaking terrible havoc.
A strange scene occurs over the city. As the shells near Superman, he seizes them and hurls them back.
Back where you came from. You're not wanted here.
Destroying the bombarding battery. Streaking down to Earth, Superman swiftly dons his civilian garments.
If there's anything I particularly despise, It's the destruction of helpless civilians.
As Lois revives,
While you were unconscious, Superman appeared and stopped the bombardment single-handed. Just my luck. I've seen. I've been praying I'd see him again, and when he finally shows up, I have to be dead to the world.
continuing on to Army headquarters, Clark and Lois confront General Lupo, whom they have an appointment to interview.
How much longer do you expect the war to last? You want to do General Lupo here?
We hope to end it soon through negotiation. In fact, 2 hours from now, all firing will cease and the party of Turan officials will drive into Bulgaria under a flag of truce to discuss peace terms. Later, alone in his hotel room, Clark changes into his Superman costume.
I ought to get some swell photos of this important occasion.
And launches himself out toward the battlefield.
What a picture! What a picture this is going to be.
But as Superman snaps the lens of his camera,
I'll let you do
within
those.
Torin,
I'll let you do those guys right there.
our officials were destroyed despite the flag of truce. Another example of Galonian treachery. Within moments, the battle resumes with renewed bitterness. Superman returns to hit the hotel room.
I don't get it. Was Galonia's desire for peace a bluff?
Stopping at a telegraph office, Clark dispatches the news to his newspaper. Then,
rush that out.
again visits General Lupo.
What have you to say now, General?
It must have been an accident. I assure you, we would not deliberately violate a flag of truce. As Clark departs, he pauses when his super-sensitive ears detect
Well,
General Lupo making a suspicious call. I just got rid of that suspicious reporter. No one will ever guess the truth. As General Lupo drives off a few minutes later, Superman trails him high in the sky above.
And it looks like he's flying, and he's flying by. I guess by this point they've got him flying more or less.
Looks like. Parking near a mountain, Lupo walks up to it and abruptly vanishes.
No entrance, no entrance anywhere. What happened to him? What happened to him is beyond me.
With his bare hands, Superman tears apart a section of the rock, exposing a passageway. Stealing cautiously within, Superman walks along until an unexpected vision makes him conceal himself.
What can this possibly be? It's in parentheses there, so I'm thinking maybe it's more of a thought.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's right.
From concealment, Superman sees General Lupo standing at attention before a huge slab of rock. As Lupo rigidly stares at the slab, as though in a hypnotic trance, lights appear, commence to whirl, and brighten upon it.
Speak what you have to report.
Your plans have been carried out. The war will be prolonged. The incredibly ugly vision vanishes. As Lupo turns to depart, Superman springs from hiding and confronts him.
Not so fast.
How did you get in here?
Are you going to tell me what this is all about?
I don't dare. Let go of me.
Either answer my question or have your brains dashed out against that wall. The Superman acted at times more like a villain here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He wasn't quite the virtuous individual that we would come to know in his Silver Age characterization, right?
Exactly. They a
Uh,
little bit more brutal.
we talked about that with we were talking a lot about that with Submariner too, with Namor as well, right?
Oh yeah. Namor was always a villain.
Hmm.
Put me down. I'll tell you everything. Momentarily, a squadron of unidentified planes are to invade and bombard a nearby neutral country. Luthor's plans is to engulf the entire continent in bloody warfare.
But who is Luthor? And that
Luthor
they
is
hold on, they got the narration down at the bottom there.
yes, but it's after.
Hmm.
Luthor is
Go ahead, who is he?
Lupo is terror stricken as over Superman's shoulder he sees the horrible face once again materialize on the slab. Abruptly, a green ray stabs out from the slab, slices the stricken general in half.
Whoa! Look at that scene right there. Whoa!
Yeah.
That I mean, that was in comic back in when most people think of comics, they think that for the kids, but that was definitely something that was more for adults, right?
Oh yeah. Notice the ray
Yeah.
is green,
Hmm.
setting the stage for kryptonite later on.
Hmm.
Uh, the green ray flashes upon Superman, but the Man of Steel's super physique enables him to withstand it.
Hmm. Fool! Fool to try. You could fool to think you could oppose me, Luthor.
As Superman destroys the great slab, the entire cavern caves in upon him. Availing himself of his incredible strength, Superman flails about and succeeds in burrowing his way out into the sunlight.
You look at the panel to the left there. I think they did some of the art is a little skewy there. It
Yeah.
makes it look like they have him have white hair instead of his kind of light blue or blue hair there. Did you notice that?
I saw that.
A squadron of unidentified bombers headed toward the neutral nation.
As the hindmost bomber sights Superman's figure suspended in the empty air before him, the gunner frantically attempts to shoot him down. Man in the sky! Impossible!
Out you go. Odd. Your uniform is entirely unfamiliar.
As the remainder of the squadron swoops at him, Superman shoots two of them.
Out of ammunition. Now to set the controls.
Let's repeat that. Superman shot two of them. Just saying. Did we get that?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Batman used to carry a gun. See, Batman carried a gun. Superman shot somebody.
Yeah. It just goes to show. RJ, how do you think people would react if they saw this today? How do you think that a lot of these comic creators and people would
Like,
react today if they saw some of this?
Superman would never do that.
What was that?
Of course, if you're, what's his name? The guy who did the Zack Snyder, he'd be like, "See, I told you, Superman's a killer. He should be a killer. He's always a killer." Um, Climbing out upon the plane's wings, Superman plucks two of the planes out of the air and smashes them together.
Just one more enemy plane to go.
Climbing back into the pilot's seat, Superman dives straight toward the remaining enemy plane. And now he kamikazes the guy.
Crash!
Leaping free from the wreckage, Superman descends to the earth unhurt.
And that attends to Luthor's plan to draw another country into the war.
Later, in his identity as Clark Kent, the Man of Steel seeks to warn the two warring countries of the greater menace that faces them.
I can't reveal my source of information, but I definitely know that this war is being promoted by a madman who wishes to destroy both warring nations.
Very amusing, Mr. Kent. Certainly you don't expect us to fall for this poorly improvised story. Within Luthor's secret lair.
You want to do that stooge right there?
This reporter knows too much. He must be eliminated.
Okay. Actually, I guess I should have done that. That was Luthor. Okay, I thought the other guy was Luthor, but
red hair.
Yeah. Well, because I still got caught thinking bald. Yep. This reporter knows too much. He must be eliminated. All right, now go. Sorry.
As you command, Almighty Luthor. As Luthor goes to Clark's hotel room in search of him, as Lois goes to Clark's hotel room in search of him, she is seized.
This is not the reporter. There you go. Now to the other guy.
Nevertheless, let us take her to the master. He may want to question her. That's the bad guy equivalent of, good enough.
Yeah.
Prisoner within a strange plane, Lois is flown to the landing platform of a gigantic dirigible, suspended high above Earth in the stratosphere. When she is ushered into Luthor's presence, that's Luthor.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to figure it out because I couldn't see where the tail was. Why have you brought this girl to me?
She was there. She is an associate of the reporter. Perhaps she can be of use to you. That's Lois.
Hey, tremendous disgrace. This horrible creature. I must be going mad. How did Clark Kent learn of my existence? I don't know, and I still can't believe you can really exist. Perhaps you are lying. Perhaps you are not. But I haven't the time to question you now. Take her away. And I know I kind of switched up the voices there. But
I say, Luthor picked up a bit of a Chinese accent there. Lois is placed under guard, but studying her guard, she notes.
The way that guard looks at me is not like the others. It must be that you're not under Luthor's hypnotic influence.
It's true. For some reason unknown to me, my mind is able to withstand Luthor's suggestion. But don't reveal this, or my life will be forfeit. Also, how did you know Luthor could hypnotize people?
Again, we see kind of a bit of a logical leap there, don't we?
Yes.
Unless you deliver a note from me to Clark Kent, I'll expose you.
I'll do it. Please don't give me away. When Lois's guard is relieved, he flies down to Earth, surreptitiously stealing into the room within which Clark sleeps. He leaves the note.
Now,
But the moment he leaves,
hold on, before we continue, because we've seen. So, in this particular context, what does the word stealing mean or steal mean here?
he goes in sneakily.
Right. Since we don't use that term like that as much nowadays, that's why I like to highlight it. Right.
But the moment he leaves, Clark, wide awake, leaps erect and swiftly scans the note.
Lois is in trouble.
Minutes later, Superman leaps from the hotel in pursuit of the fleeing guard.
He's flying directly up into the sky at a straight angle and out of view.
Okay, make up your mind. Is it straight or is it at an angle? Because the two are antonyms. Superman crouches and tenses his muscles for a gigantic effort.
My guess is that following that plane will lead me directly to Lois.
Steely muscles propel Superman up into the stratosphere.
And we have another variation of the word steal here. What do you think this version means?
This is steely. This is not even a variation of it.
Well, not variation of the other word. This is I guess a homophone or homonym.
Yeah,
right?
it's a homonym. It's a homophone.
Homophone.
Homonyms mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Or no,
Yeah.
it's a homophone. It sounds the same.
Homophone. I would say that in this case, stealing muscles might indicate like Man of Steel kind of thing.
Yes. His muscles are like steel. They are steely.
Right. A colossal dirigible.
Catching onto the landing platform's edge with one hand, Superman draws himself up and attends to two guards who discover him.
Sorry, no time to be gentle.
Meanwhile, Lois is being tortured by her guard.
Luthor wants the truth from you. But I've already told you all I know. Come on, talk fast.
His X-ray eyesight apprising him of Lois's predicament, Superman leaps toward the tower within which she is confined.
I'll attend to that brute in short order. Superman. Who's that? Quick! Take my
That's Superman.
Oh, quick! Take my
Arm.
We've got what was that?
Arm. Take my arm.
Oh, take my arm. We've got to get out of here. I thought the way the arrow was pointing, I thought I might have been.
There's also a streak across the M, which made it hard to read.
Yeah. I'd advise you to not to leave. I don't fear you. You can't harm me. But the girl, she is not invulnerable. Enter. All right. Either submit or she dies. There was a little bit of a hard read there.
Yeah, that was you caught it before I did, so. For Lois's sake, Superman permits the girl and himself to be escorted by guards into Luthor's presence.
Keep your chin up. With you nearby, I've nothing to fear. What sort of creature are you? Just an ordinary man, but with with the brain of a super genius, with scientific muscles at my fingertips. I'm preparing to make myself supreme master of the world. My plan to send the nations of the earth at each other's throats, so that when they are sufficiently weakened, I can step in and assume control. The only thing you should step into is a straitjacket.
Acceding to Luther's demands, Superman permits himself to be chained to the wall, while 4 green rays bore steadily at him.
Very interesting how strong your skin is. But I guarantee you that 5 minutes under those rays will result in your annihilation.
As the rays blast down at Superman, he feels his powerful strength slowly departing.
See how I destroy mighty Superman? No one can can stand in Luthor's path. No one. Bah! I tire at the slow rate of destruction. With this powerful ray, I'll blast out cities in moments.
But before Luthor can put his great ray into operation, Superman acts. How did he get loose?
I don't know. He did indicate that he let them chain him to the wall. So he
Yeah, but they also
maybe.
said he was weakened. So,
But then, what does that really mean when we're saying a Kryptonian's weakened? He still might end up still being stronger than a normal human. You know, he may not have, let's say, planet sized powers, but he still might have a continent sized power, if you get what I mean.
yes, indeed.
Duck, Lewis.
Summoning up his last bit of energy, Superman catapults across the room at the ray machine, destroying it. Oh, we read those out of order.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe. Can you read that? Because that thing, they got the.
No, I didn't even know it was words.
There's words in there, but they're barely visible.
Yeah, that's black.
Yeah.
Something, something, he runs toward Luthor. Luthor grabs the ray gun and aims it at Superman. And fires.
Now die! That ray, it's sapping all. That ray is sapping all my strength. Now he can go to this.
And summoning up the last bit of energy, Superman catapults across the room at the ray machine, destroying it.
Wham! Don't harm me, and I'll give you unlimited riches. I thought you proved yellow if the situation were reversed.
With Lois and Luthor under each arm, Superman races through the corridor.
Kind of reminds me of one of the Fleischer Superman cartoons I watched the other day. Where are you going? To the dirigibles control room.
When they reach the control room,
Destroy him! Blot him out! You're welcome to try.
the guards react as though they had encountered an indestructible force. Easily, Superman sends them flying in all directions.
Look, I'm juggling.
Turning from the cowed guards, Superman turns to the great mechanism that keeps the dirigible afloat and tears it apart with his bare hands. As the great dirigible topples down toward the distant Earth, two figures spring free from it. Superman bearing Lois.
Crash!
So Luthor, who didn't die, and everybody else also maybe escaped death.
Well, that's kind of the funny thing about some of these early stories. I mean, I know we didn't get to read as many of them, but that seemed to be quite a bit with some of these villains where they have these, you think they die, right? But then they show up again. Happened quite a bit with Ultra Humanite in his first 6 appearances, and then eventually came back and was eventually revealed that he transferred his brain into the actress Dolores Winters.
Yep. Villains that were too good to let go. Mm-hmm. As Lois alights unhurt, safely cradled in Superman's arms.
And that's the end of Luthor.
Swiftly, Superman races back across the battlefield toward the city at breakneck speed.
Scared? No, thrilled.
Returning to his hotel room, Superman puts on civilian clothes.
Time for Superman to step out of the picture and for Clark Kent to re-enter.
And once again addresses representatives of the two warring nations.
You've seen a strange durable that fell from the sky. Now do you believe my contention that a fiend named Luthor deliberately fomented this war for evil purposes?
He's fantastic, but in view of recent events, appears likely.
Appears likely.
For half an hour, Clark paces anxiously back and forth before the closed conference door. Then,
well,
the war is over. Armistice has been declared. Within the editorial office of the Daily Planet,
Another scoop from Clark Kent. How he does it amazes me. And he appears to be such a meek, shy person. Well, our work in Europe is done. Let's pack and return to Metropolis. Okay, I'll be delighted to get back. And I'll be doubly glad if I should again see Superman there. And you got a little tidbit for the Sandman there.
Oh yeah. The Sandman. Read the thrilling, action-packed story of the Sandman, battling crime and injustice in every issue of Adventure Comics.
All right. So how did you like that story, RJ?
That was one of the typical, it read like a Fleischer cartoon. It was one of those very typical, go to Europe, there's a war, two countries you've never heard of, somebody's making them fight. We've seen this story before, actually.
Yeah. Quite a few times, huh?
Yes.
And Timothy, hey Tim, welcome to the stream. Here, looks like he does he open up portals, his loopholes, and then of course
yeah, we've been missing these comments all throughout the story here.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even aware of them, but they didn't take long to go back into war. Well, it says February 1940. The war is going on, and
that was a different war. That was not World War II. That was two European wars that were that were not you. That it was not Germany and Russia. It was not. It was not.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't say it. They wouldn't do it yet. The comic
That,
publishers, I mean.
that truce, all 2 seconds of it. um, Actually, I know that Quality did the same thing. On the pages of Quality Comics, they had a number of like starts and stops, false starts and stops of wars as well in that company's publications as well. He had a whole bunch of like you see here with Galonia and Torin and all that. These countries that made up country names.
Yep.
Let's see. Superman, tell me what I want, or I'm going to have to rip you into a soul. Oh boy. Notice there's no detail to the body getting cut in half.
The ray was cauterizing the body as it cut, so there was no bleeding.
His super flail. Okay. They were super shot.
Shot with unerring accuracy.
Let's see. Superman while shooting. Rat-a-tat-tat. Late night with my gat. Okay, Tim. Quite entertaining. And of course, guys, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get more get more people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, as always, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So now that was Superman. So let's go ahead and go to more fun comics. As many stories we're normally I would just kind of brisk through the rest of the book here, but I figure want to get through the stories as quickly as we can, so we'll just get to more fun comics. Issue number 53. And we did see some leaps in logic there too, RJ. Right?
Just a few. We're kind of used to it now, though.
Yeah. Which was happening a lot back in these days. So the next story we're going to do, of course, we're going to go to the Spectre. This is kind of a continuation of the story that was started in More Fun Comics number 52. In fact, I think you may have read that story with me. So, RJ, I believe.
I probably did. I think I did.
Yeah. You want to read that little yellow area
in
there?
This issue, another thrilling adventure of the Spectre.
I like the lettering there too. Now this obviously color-wise looks a lot better. This looks a lot brighter, a lot better. Look at it.
The Spectre in his tidy greenies.
You want to read the synopsis, and then I'll go ahead and.
Yeah. When Jim Corrigan, detective, was slain by Gat Benson's gangsters, he learned that his spirit was to remain earthbound, battling crime with supernatural powers until it was wiped off the face of the earth. Now he walks through a wall into a warehouse in which his fiancée, Clarice Winston, is held prisoner. Ah, yes, the days when Jim Corrigan was also dead and a ghost. Not just a host for the Spectre.
Why do we go with the dame? Kill her. She knows too much. Don't worry, honey. It'll be over in a minute. No, don't. She's fainted. Stop stalling. Go ahead, shoot. I ain't never croaked. I never croaked a dame. This ought to be funny. Great. He thinks it's funny to kill a woman. Ha ha.
Suddenly, the gangster stops in his tracks.
Holy cats! It's.
And then we just see
Looked
him.
like Jim Corrigan there in some fuzzy picture.
Yeah. Drawn by a terrible hypnotic fascination, the gangster peers deep into Jim's dark eyes and glimpses death.
Look at how they set that up too. Artwork.
Yeah.
You got the well. It looks like the beams coming out of his eye, coming out of the bottom of his eyelids right there. You see that?
I do.
That's kind of an interesting little art trick there.
And those little skulls in his irises.
It's him. Come back from the dead, Jim Corrigan.
Jim fades into nothingness.
He was looking in the direction, but there's nothing there. He must be out. He must have been out of his mind. Well, I'll be. He's fainted. It's worse than that. He's dead. I don't get it. He screeches something about Corrigan being alive again, then dies. You don't suppose that Corrigan escaped? Do you get? We saw the dick die with our own eyes. Okay, before I continue on, of course, RJ, do you know what they and it obviously means something different back in 1940 here than it does today. What does the
He's
term
a detective.
right? It's just one of those lazy apes, right?
Yes.
You know, rather than say detective, they just call him a dick, and not the meaning that we do today, right? Pick up the gun, pick and finish the job. Picky and Ricky and finish the job. He touched that gun after what happened to him. Me touch that gun after what happened to him. Nothing doing, boss. Either you shoot the girl or I shoot you. I'll do it since you put it like that. It seems like the old damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, right?
Yep. But as Ricky advances, stand back.
You want to do Jim Corrigan this time?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay. Ugh! What in? It's Jim Corrigan, but it can't be. He's down at the bottom of the river. This must be his ghost. Ghost nothing, but he soon will be when I get finished with him. That'll finish you. Bang, 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 bang. The bullets, they passed right through him.
If you've any more bullets to waste, go right ahead. Ricky launches himself upon Jim. But as he touches Corrigan's figure,
Yee! His skin it's wrinkling, shrinking. No, no!
Ricky undergoes a fantastic transformation. His skin and garments commence to fade away. Only a skeleton remains.
What have you done to me? Don't leave me this way.
You've robbed, you've killed, and this is your reward.
Wow. Quite a gruesome punishment, wouldn't you say?
That's what the Spectre did. They just found unique and interesting ways to kill people in this comic.
This can't be true. It must be a nightmare.
Die.
But nightmare or no nightmare, I'm clearing out of here.
Duplicates of Jim's figure materialize at all the exits.
Huh?
Not thinking of leaving, are you?
Let me out of here.
You're not leaving yet.
Now you're doing Jim Corrigan very well there. You know, you really picked up on that.
I'm just thinking of a dead Batman.
Yeah. Out of my way.
Or
Out of my way, or
may I remind you that I need you but touch you, and you suffer the same fate Ricky did? The duplicates of Jim's figure commence closing in on the gangster in an ever-tightening circle.
back. Do you hear? Or I'll plug the game.
And as the ghostly figure continues to advance,
Bang!
he plugs the dame. The figures close in upon the shrieking gangster with a rush. As Gat Benson is touched by the onrushing figures, he topples into unconsciousness.
Don't touch me! Yeah.
The duplicates vanish, leaving Jim's figure standing alone. Clarice. She's dying. She mustn't die. She's too young. She's got everything to live for. Suddenly, Jim looks down at his hand, amazed. What in?
He's saying something right there.
Yeah, he said, what in?
I didn't hear you say it.
For where he had touched Clarice, no wound. As soon as I touched it, it healed instantly. She's coming too, but she must not know what has happened to me.
Jim.
Yes, it's me, Clarice, but don't excite yourself.
Then it's not true what they said? You're not dead? Oh, I'm so glad.
Clarice does not realize the pain her words are causing Jim. How can I tell her she's wrong? That she holds the ghosts in her arms. She must never know.
Those gangsters, you overcame them single-handed.
Oh, I've had stiffer odds in my day.
But how did you turn the tables on them?
They knocked me unconscious and threw me into the river. But I revived in time to escape death and rescue you. Jim Corrigan speaking. Send the wagon to the Westwood warehouse. I've some customers for you.
You took care of these men by yourself?
Take them to the lockup. I'll prefer charges later.
What's wrong with these guys? They won't come to.
Jim concentrates and
They've revived. But look at them. They're but look at them. They've lost their senses. How terrible!
let's get out of here. They lost their minds because of their horrible experience. That's Clarice talking.
Step on it. We've got to get back to the party before the guests leave.
Sorry, Clarice, but I won't join you at the party.
What? But but we're to have our engagement announced there.
That's another thing I'm sorry about. The engagement is off.
But Jim, why?
Isn't it obvious? I simply have ceased to care.
Surely you're joking.
I'm deadly serious.
But Jim, we mean so much to each other. You and I. You can't discard our love like an old sock. Oh boy, what an interesting way to put it,
The
right?
first thing that pops to your mind was laundry. Please, Khalees, you're making it difficult for me. I can't keep this up any longer. I still love her. At that moment, Jim idly notes that though it is a cool evening, that's odd. I leave no moisture on the window. Good Lord, I don't breathe. The startling reminder of his ghostly existence strengthens Jim's resolution. We're finished, Clarice, and there's nothing we can do about it.
I understand.
Jim's car races through the night at terrific speed. A lost soul is at its wheel. I love Clarice as much as ever, but I'm no longer of this earth. I have no right to marry a human being. There must be a clean break. As Jim enters his room,
Say, what's the idea of packing?
I'm moving into a room of my own.
Don't do it, Jim. We've been together so long.
My mind is made up. Within his new room, Jim busies himself constructing a strange costume. Why? You don't have to. Okay. When
Because
completed,
this was still the golden age, and they didn't really think the idea of they didn't. I guess they didn't have the idea that Bernard Bailey, who I guess was the guy who wrote this, apparently didn't have the idea that you could just materialize wardrobe.
yeah, exactly. When
like
completed,
we
he
like we
dons
would
it.
see later, like we would see later.
Yeah, like, I'm a ghost. I've got to go get my physical clothing. I'll continue to be Jim Corrigan, detective. But when I battle crime as the Spectre, I'll cloak my identity in this costume. A lone figure, tortured by conflicting thoughts, stares up at a full moon. If only I could forget this grim mission, achieve eternal rest. I shall not be satisfied until criminal activities upon this earth are a thing of the past.
Wow, quite a statement. That was quite a statement that was said by many a superhero back in this day, huh?
Yeah, can't quit till it's all done. Oh, and we got it out of order again because they did another one of those 2-for-1 panels.
Yeah. Well,
But when he thinks of the injustices of crime, no, the world needs me. The Spectre.
the end. So how?
Everything was cool with it until he's like materializing skulls out of his eyes and shooting beams and touching people and
Well, the
shrieking their
funny
skin
thing
and
here
trying.
is too they only put the Spectre story in here. They didn't really. Usually this book would usually have usually they do like the whole book, but here they only did the Spectre story.
We got lucky. That's the one we wanted to read.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Let's see now. So the next one we will do, of course, is let's first go back, and we have Captain Infinity here. Um,
Ahoy, Captain!
yeah, he's been going under a few different names. You guys, as always, if you guys haven't already, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, um, help us find some more people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, anything crosses, if anything here grabs your interest, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best ability. RJ, what did you think of that story, the Spectre story?
I've always loved the Spectre. Like I said, I was with it up until the point where he had to sew a costume. I'm like, Your clothes have been transparent the whole time. Things have been going right through them, but you need something to wear. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Um,
My guess on that is that maybe Bernard Bailey just didn't have enough imagination to realize, oh wait, he's a ghost. He could just materialize um,
yeah,
clothes.
he's done all these other miraculous things, but he'll sew a costume.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're now at the hour 20 mark here, so I think we're making good time. And now, as as I told you before, we usually will sometimes with these we'll do them in descending order by page count. So then basically the next one we'll do is Hour Man, which will be a 60 or six pager from Adventure Comic 48, and then 6 pages. Well, you'll see. They'll be shorter.
I don't count. I just read them.
Yeah. Well, now we're gonna get into the Hour Man. TikTok Tyler. Rex TikTok Tyler.
Man of the hour.
Huh?
The
Man of
man of
two.
the hour.
Right. Here we go. Well, it looks like a little faded again here. The Sandman the Sandman in the little circle there, number 48. And there's the cover feature of Our Men, Rick TikTok Tyler.
With a great tan.
Yeah. March 19th, no, March 19th, that's of course the cover date. Introducing, oh wait, you want to read that part?
Introducing in this issue, the Hour Man.
And you notice early on there, they did it hyphenated. Later
Yeah,
on, they would do it one word, but they did
because
it hyphen.
if your super ability is that you have superpowers for an hour, of course you tell all the bad guys this by putting it in your name. And you're like, look, it's
You
Hour Man. Okay, we need someone to hold him off for like 58 minutes, and then we're good.
need, uh,
But this is also by Bernard Bailey, who did the Spectre. There's his name.
and then Bernard Bailey also, I believe he did Tex Thompson too.
Ooh, it's gonna get dark.
Yeah.
Tick Tock Tyler, the Hour Man, by Bernard Bailey. Introduction. Rex Tyler, a young chemist, discovers Miraclo, a powerful chemical that transforms him from a meek, mild scientist to the underworld's most formidable foe. With Miraclo, he has, for 1 hour, the power of chained lightning, speed almost as swift as thought. But unless he performs his deeds of strength and daring within 1 hour, the effect of Miraclo wears off, and the Hour Man becomes his former meek self. A strange ad appears in a great metropolitan daily. There's only one that I know of.
To the oppressed, young man anxious to help the oppressed, offers service free to all who need him. Apply Box 21 Post Office. I guess I'm doing Hour Man because I think that's what it was. All right.
That was a newspaper ad, but that's okay. What's going on here anyway?
He must be um giving something away for nothing.
In his apartment, we find Rex Tyler, the man who is to win fame as TikTok Tyler, the Hour Man.
I'm glad I kept my address a secret. If all these people ever came in person. But well, also, what were we just talking about in terms of the idea of calling himself Our Man?
Yeah.
Same, very similar leap in logic right there, right?
I mean, it's not like the post office doesn't know where to find him, but
Yeah.
a particular letter catches his eye. Dear sir, since my husband lost his job, I have been almost crazy trying to keep him from going around with the gang that is making a thief of him. John was a good man to me and our children, but since he has taken up with his old crowd, he's becoming a vicious person. My prayers would be with you if you could help a distressed wife and mother, hopefully Mrs. J. Kennedy. He's talking about running for president of all things. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's funny. John Kennedy seems to be a very common name. I mean, I think even the current
Very, very Irish.
the current senator out of Louisiana, granted, he uses his middle name in there too, John, I think Neely Kennedy or something like
Yeah,
that.
you've got to now.
Yeah.
And so that night,
Hmm. You're quite sure about this, Mrs. Kennedy?
yes, he mumbled in his sleep last night about trying to get Miss Van Shelton's pearls at the Beaux Arts ball. Later, in his laboratory,
Hmm. The tear gas concern or the tear gas concentrate in my ring could make an army cry.
Tick-Tock mixes a vial of the precious fluid that will make him insensible to harm and injury. I'm not sure that's the word they wanted.
Yeah. It may have been. The Grand March is at 11. I'll take this 1 minute before 11.
The Beaux Arts ball. I think that's just a stranger.
Yeah. There's Marcia Van Shelton and her famous pearls. All right.
Others, too, find the pearls interesting.
Did you find the light switch, Kennedy? Yes, everything is ready. There better be no slip up.
Suddenly, a paper blows into Kennedy's hands.
Good Lord, Randall, look at this. Give it here.
The Hour Man introduces himself for the first time to the underworld.
Kennedy, go home to your wife and kids before it is too late. The Hour Man. I'm worried, Randall. What are you going to do? Do? We're going through with this. One minute to 11. Miraclo, do your stuff.
The Grand March is about to begin. Everybody get in. Suddenly, blackness.
What happened? You want to do the middle one right there?
Who turned off those lights?
Oh, my toes!
With the extra normal sight Miraclo gives him, Tick-Tock sees the girl with her pearls missing. The thieves have struck. Wait, he sees her missing? The lights go on.
My pearls! They're gone! See the time frame right there?
Yep, they're doing the countdown. It's like watching 24.
Faster! Drive faster, Kennedy. We'll need a good start.
But given the speed of the wind by Miraclo, Tick-Tock keeps the car in sight. While a few blocks further on,
Listen to this job. Calling all cars, be on the lookout for sedan believed carrying thieves who stole Van Shelton necklace. Tonight they are armed. That's all. There she is, Joe. Right. Right. Let's get going. Bop. Hold on.
TikTok fails to see the speeding police car.
Now that had almost wow, that had almost as much kick as Miraclo.
Warned by the wailing siren, the thugs open fire.
Here you are, coppers, taste lead. Crash! You want to read the little time there in the bottom corner there? Bottom left corner.
11:30 p.m.
Don't worry, you crooks. You'll pay for what you just did.
The gang's hideout.
Hurry up. The cops will be after us in no time. Open up. Open up, Patsy. We're being followed. I wonder if this case, if the guy's name actually is Patsy, or if he just calls him Patsy. Because Patsy, you know what a Patsy was considered back in these days, right?
Yeah, I think that's likely his name this time.
Yeah. So this is their hideout, huh? Well, that's all I want to know. Gosh, 20 minutes of 12. I've got to work fast, or my powers will be gone. You want to read the time right there?
11:40 p.m. Meanwhile, Kennedy, who had followed his pals, has seen TikTok's jump to the roof.
But I tell ya, I saw someone jump from the sidewalk to the roof. The guy's so scared, he's seeing things. Good evening, gentlemen. I'll trouble you for those pearls. See what I tell you.
Seeing TikTok unarmed, one of the men reaches for his gun.
You asked for it, pal. But you're going to get it.
The men, overcome by the gas from TikTok's ring, the hour man turns toward Kennedy.
Now, Mr. Kennedy, I'll attend to you. You want to read the time there?
11:50 p.m.
Where are you taking me? To the roof. To the roof, my friend. Why have you taken me up here? What are you going to do? I'm going to teach you that crime doesn't pay.
TikTok throws the scared Kennedy off the roof.
If you want to be a criminal, you've got to pay for it, Kennedy. Help! Help! You want to read the time right there?
11:55 p.m.
And look what we have again here. A hero not acting so heroically, right?
Probably the first time no, not the first time Superman did it. But, throw somebody off the roof just to scare them into a confession.
Yeah.
Batman did it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the hour man leaps off and catches Kennedy before he reaches the ground, defying all the laws of physics, which say that two things would... Never mind. He couldn't catch up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Will you go home? Will you go home to your wife and give up crime, or shall I throw you off the roof again? I'll go home. I'll quit. Only don't throw me off the roof again.
Then, as the reformed Kennedy leaves, reformed Kennedy.
Yeah. I'm growing weak. This stuff is wearing off. My hour is up.
With the effects of Miraclo worn off, the Hour Man once more becomes his meek, timid self.
Gosh, it's dark here. I guess I'd better head for home.
Next morning,
You want to do that guy right there?
Tyler, you could go places in this concern if you weren't such a timid soul. Why don't. Oh, what's the use?
I'm sorry, sir. I'll try to change.
You notice this wasn't a formula that just gave him strength. This was more of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. It changed his personality.
Yeah. 12 p.m. right there. And the
At the Van Shelton home, my pearls. And at the Kennedys.
I'm going straight, Mary. I was a fool to think the world was against me.
Thank heaven, John. I knew my prayers would be answered. Follow the sensational, thrill-packed adventures of Tick-Tock Tyler, the Hour Man, in every issue of this magazine.
Well, RJ, what did you think of that story?
It got the point across. I mean,
Nice little intro. Nice little intro. For obviously before we really get into some of the arch enemy, like one of the things when I of course would read Our Man's story before when I've read some of his stories that will come up. It seems like his rogues gallery were all doctors. They were all scientists, and Dr. Glisson, Dr. Eicher, Dr. Togg, Dr. Slight. Oh, just kind of an interesting little tidbit there that all right. So anyways, we'll get ready to move on. An hour 37. We're going through these stories pretty quick.
Yep.
We'll get on to the next one I was going to go to then. And now we're going to go to the Crimson Avenger in issue number 30. Now, as I mentioned earlier, of course, this was Crimson Avenger's first, his reappearance after like an eight issue hiatus. He basically debuted, I think, in issue 20 and went all the way up to 29, and then kind of like, then he left and then came back in issue 37. So that's where we're going to head to here. And it's kind of funny because the next issue is 38, the introduction of Robin. And look who the lead feature is there, RJ.
I see it. It's
and look at how they got his costume there. A lot more simplistic than what we've seen today, obviously.
yes. Yes, I wonder if he's still wearing the purple gloves or if he'd gone to the elbow length ones at this point.
Yeah, and of course, won't well.
Oh no, he's got the scalloped gloves on at this point.
That was a 12, 13 pager. Well, I think that. Spy, Bart Regan, another one of Jerry Siegel's. Like as I told you, Siegel and Schuster, of course, Eventually, Schuster was replaced by another artist, but Siegel was a pretty busy guy around this time. I mean, Superman and Slam Bradley were his two big features, but also he had this one. He had also had Federal Men in the Adventure Comics book. So
Right.
I don't know the Phantom of Disguise right there. What do you think of the selections tonight thus far, RJ? Here we go.
Well, they've all been some of my favorite characters, including El Vengador Rojo, the Crimson Avenger.
Mm-hmm. And you notice kind of the smokiness coming out of the gun there.
Yeah, a lot of them used gas guns, like the Green Hornet and the
Right.
Sandman, and Hourman had
So
his
Crimson
tear
Avenger,
gas.
yeah, Crimson Avenger, our Sandman. They used gas guns. I think even early on, Blue Beetle used it as well.
Couldn't kill people. Come on, that would be
Yeah.
unheroic unless you drop them off buildings or shoot their planes down.
Hello, Dan. What's that? Laura Burlingame's been kidnapped? Be right over. Boy, what a story. Millionaire Burlingham's daughter snatched.
Arriving at the home of the wealthy Burlinghams, Lee Travis goes to work.
Hello, Sarge. Looks like big headlines again. Any ideas on the case?
Not yet, at any rate. The police were just called in.
You have my deepest sympathy, and rest assured that all will be done to get your daughter back safe.
Says the reporter, not the police officer. Thank you.
Well, Sarge, keep yourself informed about this case through the Globe Leader.
Extras quickly appear on the streets.
Girl kidnapped. $50,000 ransom.
J. Worthy, a former business associate at Burlingame's, receives a note.
So the kidnapper suggests I act as go-between. I'll see Burlingame. This came as a surprise, of course. If you wish, I'll gladly do my part to bring about a return.
It seems the only solution, Jay. The Crimson Avenger suddenly enters the case.
I'm afraid you haven't any choice but to tell me where Worthy is to meet the kidnappers. Come on, speak up, man. We're wasting time.
He meets them at the Perry statue in Central Park at midnight. A high-powered car awaits the Crimson Avenger.
All right, we're going for a drive to the park. Slow down. We're near the spot, just around the next curve. You know who that is, don't you?
That's Wing. He called him that.
Uh-huh.
You
I
skipped his
didn't know.
name.
Yeah. All right, Wing. Okay. Yeah. I didn't even see that. um, Worthy is on time. Now we'll see. Here comes someone. Now for the signal. Someone's getting out of that car. Okay, make it fast. It better be all here. Here it is. Everything as ordered.
As the kidnapper speeds away, the Crimson Avenger returns for his car.
Just keep them in sight, Wing. Don't want to look as though we were following. Hey, Barney, ain't this ain't this buggy got more speed?
The car roars into the suburbs.
Hmm. I never expected them to head in this direction. The house ahead, they're turning in.
The kidnap car stops at a palatial residence.
So, this is the hideout. They certainly believe in class.
And inside the hideout,
Well, so far no hitches. Ha! Wonder how the cops like it. Now that we've got the dough, what do we do? I hope I'm not too late. Hey, you mugs. What about the brat? I ain't no housemaid.
Noisemaid. Noisemaid.
No,
I ain't no
noise maid.
noisemaid. She's from Brooklyn.
Uh, Take it easy, Rosie. You're getting a cut, ain't ya? Good. At least Laura is still safe. Now for a phone. Listen, Charlie, or listen, Gary. Out of the
Cut,
trap.
cut,
What was
cut the
that?
tears. Cut the tears.
Cut the tears. It's getting me down. See?
Finding a phone, the Crimson Avenger calls the police.
Hello, police.
Read, a superhero who calls the cops.
Well, much like Batman, the Crimson Avenger also, basically didn't have quite a kosher relationship with the cops. Hello, police. About the Burlingame child. She is at 704 West Highway, Sarchester. Hurry. Here comes the boss. How to split the dough and get. Let him in, Barney. What do we have here, RJ?
This looks like a last minute, like, we got to put a twist in it. What if it was this guy? And I'm sitting there,
Wasn't
I
this
knew they were
wasn't
going
this
to
a
do
guy
it.
who was acting as a go-between initially?
Yes, I knew they were going to do it. But here's the thing, if he was the go between, why would we see him open the letter and talk about it to nobody? Like,
Uh,
it's a letter from the kidnappers. He would just show up, say, I got a letter from the kidnappers. But no, he actually got the letter from the kidnappers and treated it like a surprise.
uh, Smooth
That's
work.
method acting.
Yeah, smooth work, eh, boys? Too easy, perhaps. You cinch, boss. I'll give you your cut now. Then all of you fellows duck out of sight. I'll get in touch with you later. Oh no, you and your playmates are not going anywhere. There are there are other guests arriving. The Crimson, but you having a thing on us. Just a kidnapping rap, and that means life imprisonment in this state.
The police enter on the scene. Look, the Crimson!
Glad you got here, boys. You'll find all in order. They got the question marks over their head.
Yeah, it's hard to read
Yeah.
out loud.
All right, Wing. The police have taken over. Let's get back to town. So you're mixed up in up in this worthy. Well, you'll get the same as the rest. Easy with that, copper. I I I ain't saying nothing without a mouthpiece. See,
Resuming the role of reporter, Lee Travis enters the
news office.
news office. I'm like Eminem's office. What the heck? The news office.
Yeah. Steve, have a rewrite. Have a rewrite. Men, fix this up. Laura Burlingame returned safely. J.M. Worthy, head of kidnap ring. Police have gang in hand. And by the way, Steve, seems the Crimson Avenger was in on it, but escaped.
Watch for another Green Hornet. I mean Crimson Avenger thriller.
What did you think of that story, RJ?
That would surely everyone saw that this was a Green Hornet ripoff. I mean, he's got his Filipino valet who eventually fights by his side. He's a newspaper man. He's a vigilante who's actually wanted by the police. Uh, it was he was everything except the publisher of the place.
Actually, if I remember correctly, I think Lee Travis. I think they do actually make him the publisher.
Well, then the circle is complete.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? So overall, what did you think of that story?
Oh, I liked all the old Golden Age heroes though. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll read Crimson Avenger. We don't know why he's the Crimson Avenger, but
152. So actually, I thought we'd push it to 2 hours, but well,
we got 8 minutes for this day in niche history.
yeah, I was just thinking. Well, should we wrap up at 2? We could try to get in another couple quick stories, or you think we're good to just
Oh
wrap up
no, I
here?
think two's strong. Two is strong.
All right. I think
Two's
I
a
think
good
we'll just
round.
wrap up here. You think it's probably a good time to wrap up then? Because I was thinking, because usually with when we have like more of the preview stuff, like we did, um, usually that takes up so much time that I end up having to add more time. But I guess we can end right around 2 hours here. Guess we can wrap things up and um, go with this day in each history. So, with all that being said, um, today is Friday, March the 8th, 2023, or 2024 rather. So let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! Let me just review some things here. 1999, 2019, 2014, and of course 2013 or 2023 there. So with that, I'm gonna head back to 1999. On this date back in 1999, March 20, which was 25 years ago today. On the Go Home, this was the Go Home Nitro before Uncensored by at WCW held its Monday Nitro from the Worcester Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts. This is a Go Home. This is a Go Home Nitro heading into. I think it was Uncensored, I believe. The main event saw a no contest between Goldberg and Ric Flair. It also saw Scott Steiner retain the World Television Championship over Booker T. In a Falls Count Anywhere triangle match, you saw Bam Bam Bigelow, Hack, and Raven Hack, who was ECW Sandman, basically. That went to a no contest, and he had a bunch of dark matches. So on this day, 25 years ago today, WCW held its Monday Nitro from Worcester, Massachusetts. cheap hits as they go home. Nitro heading into uncensored, I believe. So getting ready now to move on to the next piece of niche history here. Moving ahead to 2014, which was 10 years ago today. Um, on this date, 10 years ago today, the following anime movies premiered in Japanese theaters on this date. Studio Dean's Hakuoki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossom, Warrior Spirit of the Blue Sky. Shin-El Animation's Doraemon, New Nobito's Great Demon, Peko and the Exploration Party of Five, and Tatsunoko Productions' Pretty Rhythm All Stars Selection Prism Show Best 10 Movie. So those three anime movies premiered on this date 10 years ago today. Moving ahead to 2019 as our next piece of niche history here. So they can all right. So on this date, 5 years ago today, back in 2019, following the release of the controversial 2019 documentary film Leaving Neverland, which details allegations against the late pop singer Michael Jackson of child sexual assault, The Simpsons producer James L. Brooks announces that The Simpsons episode Stark Raving Dad, which guest starred Jackson, will be pulled from circulation. He explains to the Wall Street Journal, quote, "This was a treasured episode. There were a lot of great memories we have wrapped up in that one, and it certainly doesn't allow them to remain. I'm against book burning of any kind, but this is our book, and we're allowed to take out a chapter." Simpsons showrunner Al Jean says he believed Jackson had used the episode to groom boys for sexual abuse. So on this date, 5 years ago, the Simpsons pulled the episode Stark Raving Dad due to the release of Leaving Neverland. So wow. And finally, we do have one more piece of niche history that goes back just 1 year ago. On this date, 1 year ago today, back in 2023, the fifth and final issue of Gospel from Image Comics went on sale on this date 1 year ago today. Sold for $3.99 and it had 28 pages. So on this date 1 year ago today, the fifth and final issue of Gospel from Image Comics went on sale on this date 1 year ago today. All right, so RJ, how did you like the show tonight?
It was a good show. It's always a good show. This is one of my favorite shows to come on.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because we still need to line you up on when we can get you back here to read some more comics. All that. If you can stick around after the show for a few minutes for some post show stuff. Now, of course, I'll be scheduling next week's set of the show tomorrow. This Sunday, of course, we have our panel show, the weekend edition.
Right.
So, and I hope we can get you back here so you can give your impressions on what we read tonight to the other panelists as well as whatever audience we draw in there. Also, as always, guys, I appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Hope we can get everybody back here every night for niche news coverage, for looking back at some good old-fashioned comics. It just talks about all things niche. So with that, I thank everyone for being here. Wait, before we go, RJ, did you want to do any kind of outro before we head out?
Just go to criticalblast.com and hit the books and publishing button and find several books and comics. We are in the publishing business. We are filling apparently a gaping hole in the industry, and we've been doing it for 3 years.
All right. Well, with that, I thank everyone for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here on Sunday. Bye.